Greetings fellow Decepticons, Soundblaster1987 here with another animation review mini vlog. Today, going back to the Transformers cartoons I've been reviewing recently on this channel, I'll be looking at Transformers Animated from 2007 to 2009, or 2010 in some regions. So, for those unaware, Transformers Animated, or Transformers the Animated Series as it was known by some people, was a Transformers cartoon created just after the live-action movies by Michael Bay, and the series was created by the legendary children's animator Derek J. Wyatt, who was also responsible for Teen Titans 2003, Legion of Superheroes 2006, Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated 2011, and Ben 10 Omniverse as well, among other things. Unfortunately, Derek J. Wyatt passed away in December 2021 from a heart attack, but the legacy of his work continues to this day with one thing or another. So, the main premise of Transformers Animated was that Optimus Prime was not the supreme leader of all Autobots in this series, but rather the leader of a small ragtag team of space bridge repair engineers and such, travelling the galaxy repairing space bridge transport outposts across the universe, in order to keep the Autobots' military support across the universe running as the Decepticons try to retake their homeworld. So, the series starts with the three-part episode, not more than meets the eye, that was the G1 episode, Transformer Rollout Parts 1, 2 and 3, that was it, where basically Optimus Prime, the leader of the team, Bulkhead, the demolitions expert, Prowl, the cyber ninja, Ratchet the medic, and Bumblebee the scout were all working on an asteroid space bridge repair when suddenly Optimus Prime unearthed the ancient Cybertronian relic, the Allspark. The Allspark was basically, the source of all life on Cybertron as of the Michael Bay Transformers movies and such, replacing the matrix of leadership in its stability and its significance of the franchise. Although Transformers Animated did combine the two of sorts by making the outer casing of the Allspark resemble the Matrix, with it being a sort of glowing blue crystal inside an orange and silver outer armoured casing with handles. But the moment that the Autobots manage to uncover the Allspark, Megatron shows up, with a bridge crew of Starscream, Lugnut, Blitzwing and Black Arachnia on his spaceship, the Nemesis. And of course the Nemesis being, the name of a Decepticon spaceship from G1, which wasn't actually named officially until Beast Wars. But yes, Black Arachnia was originally Optimus Prime's girlfriend, Elita 1, who Sentinel Prime also had feelings for back in the day, but she got mutated by a race of organic giant spiders on the planet Arca 7 during an unsanctioned mission to recover energon cubes from a crashed Decepticon spaceship on the planet, where Optimus and Sentinel were very younger. Sentinel never forgave Optimus for having to leave Elita 1 behind when the spiders attacked, and that sparked a rivalry between Optimus and Sentinel throughout the rest of this series. Sentinel Prime's design is basically an homage to a character called The Tick, who was a superhero cartoon character played by Townsend Coleman, the voice of Sentinel Prime, back in the 1990s, with a sort of blue bodysuit and a gigantic chin. And there's a, big metal bolt right in the middle of Sentinel Prime's chin that's supposed to be sort of like the cleft shape that certain human chins have, peeking through the, blue details of his helmet and such. But anyway, in Transformers Animated, Megatron was voiced by Corey Burton, who also voiced Shockwave in the original Transformers cartoon in 1984. Bumblebee and Blitzwing were voiced by Bumper Robinson, who would later go on to voice Falcon in the Avengers cartoons for Earth 12041 that I've already reviewed, as well as Rook Blanco in Ben 10 Omniverse. Bulkhead was voiced by Bill Fagabaki, or however you pronounce it, the voice of Patrick Star from the SpongeBob franchise. And let's see now. Black Arachnia was voiced by Cree Summer, who was the voice of Susie Carmichael in Rugrats, Nefertina from Mummies Alive, Number 5 and her sister from Kids Next Door, and many others. Optimus Prime himself was actually voiced by David Kane, along with Grimlock and Lugnut in the series, who of course previously voiced Megatron in both the Beast Wars and Unicron Trilogy eras of the franchise. Prowl was voiced by Jeff Bennett, who voiced a lot of other characters in the series, including Soundwave. And I can't remember offhand who voiced Ratchet in this series, but I'm sure it'll come back to me at some point. The main human allies of the Autobots in this series were Sari Sumdac and her father, Professor Isaac Sumdac, except it turns out that Sari wasn't human after all. She was a Cybertronian protoform that Professor Sumdac found when he was younger and just adopted her as his own, and the genetic imprint of his organic DNA basically merged with the protoform to create a semi-human daughter with no memories that didn't discover her true nature until she skinned her elbow at the end of Season 2. And Sari Sumdac's Sumdac Systems security passport key basically bonded with the Allspark, creating a Cybertronian access all areas key that can upgrade pretty much any machinery it touched, including bringing dead Cybertronians back to life and upgrading their power, which is also how Soundwave got as powerful as he did in the episode Sound and Fury. So, basically, at the end of the battle for the Allspark in the first episode, the Autobot ship, which turned out to be Omega Supreme, crash-landed on a volcano, just like in the original Transformers cartoon, and that volcano was basically, an island off the coast of Detroit, Michigan, where, in the 22nd century, the Autobots ended up becoming basically superheroes for the city of Detroit, while the Decepticons were basically the villain of the week, trying to cause trouble and retrieve fragments of a now destroyed Allspark that scattered splinters of itself all over the city. Basically a combination of Transformers G1, Beast Wars and Unicron Trilogy era storyline threads going on, with the scattered splinters of the Allspark being similar to the maximal Stasis Pods from Beast Wars that occasionally end up creating new characters like Ratgar of the Constructicons and the Dinobots, which I'll get into in separate videos. I've already gone over the history of the Constructicons in one of my previous vlogs, which I'll leave linked in the description below for those who want to check that out. But basically, these two are oil-guzzling, lazy construction workers that act like stereotypical New York, Brooklyn-type construction workers with sleazy attitudes toward female characters and such like. Mixmaster even has a sort of plumber's crack kind of thing going on in his backside as well. If you look at the rear animation model from the Allspark Almanac guidebook, it's not a pretty sight, believe me. And also, if Season 4 had ended up going ahead instead of being cancelled, Bulkhead was apparently going to be hypnotized by the third Constructicon Dirt Boss with one of his Cerebro shells, the sort of mind control things that Bombshell from the G1 Insecticons used to use. Bulkhead would have been mind controlled by one of those to become the torso of the Devastator Combiner, which sadly was never brought to pass because Animated got cancelled after Season 3 because Hasbro's new TV network, The Hub, wanted to go in a different direction with the Transformers franchise at the time, which is where Transformers Prime came out of it. Such a nuisance. Luckily, some of the unfinished concepts for Transformers Animated Season 4 have been resurrected in recent months by toy designer Eric Siebenhaler on Instagram and social media Transformers fan Kian Carlisle, who I'll leave links to their social media profiles in the links below, so that you'll be able to check out some of their recent Transformers Animated Revival work. So, in addition to the Autobot and Decepticon conflict, there was also the power struggle within the Decepticon ranks where Starscream was trying to basically take over for himself, even to the point of creating the other Seekers as clones of himself, in a reference to the 2003 Teen Titans episode where Raven got split into 5 emotion copies of herself, each representing a different part of her personality. With Starscream's clones, the same is basically the same, with Thundercracker being the ego, Skywarp being the cowardice, Sunstorm being his sycophantic suck-up tendencies, Ramjet being the pathological liar, Slipstream being a complete enigma where nobody even knows what aspect of his personality she represents. Derek J. Wyatt took that secret literally to the grave, he never told anyone what Slipstream's true purpose was, apart from just a sarcastic, back-talking female clone that argues with Starscream more than Megatron does. And, of course, there were also Dirge and Thrust, two unseen clones of Starscream that were later revealed by the Allspark Almanac book to have been working for the arms mercenary Swindle, the mercenary arms dealer, who was voiced by the late Fred Willard, that was it. The guy who was the live-action CEO of By and Large in the Wall-E movie, and Leon's husband in the final season of Roseanne as well. I'll review Roseanne at some point in the future. It is a really good sitcom, I recommend it. But anyway, Transformers Animated covered a lot of crazy topics across the whole 3 seasons and the toy line and such like. And Transformers Animated's toy line was famous for its extensive use of light piping, the sort of transparent plastic block in the back of a character's head that made their eyes light up when light shines behind it. Swindle in particular was well known for his light piping because it showed up the sort of pupil areas of his eyes with the way the sort of multi-layer plastic colours worked. Unfortunately, a lot of clear plastic issues with the animated Swindle toy and several of the other Transformers animated figures. But that's a story for another time. This is supposed to be about the cartoon, not the toys. But yes, there were a few unreleased toys of Transformers animated characters as well, like a more Michael Bay accurate version of Jazz that's all metallic silver, a new version of Megatron inspired by various unused concepts from over the years that would have had him a triple changer like Blitzwing, featuring a sort of face mask similar to the control suit his Beast Machine's counterpart wore, and so on and so forth. So that more or less concludes my review of Transformers Animated, aside from obviously mentioning the human supervillains that turned up as well. Nanosec, who's basically just an evil version of the Flash, but ages rapidly when he doesn't use his super speed too often. Professor Princess, who is basically just a flying toddler with superpowers, who can fire projectile weapon toys out of her magic wand. Angry Archer, basically an evil version of Green Arrow with an exaggerated sort of medieval speech pattern, with a cybernetic archery arm and gimmick arrows and such. Slow-Mo, who can manipulate the flow of time with an Allspark fragment-infused stopwatch, and so on and so forth. And of course the Headmaster, who was a human supervillain who used to work for Sundak Systems, who ended up developing his own transforming mech suit that can cut the heads off Transformers and commandeer their bodies. Which is of course a reference to G1 Headmaster technology, but I'll go into his story another time because he's a complex enough character to warrant his own video. So, that concludes my look at Transformers Animated. I've been Soundblaster1987, thanks again for watching. My next toy review will be the, AliExpress Lego alternative Kyoryujin Samba formation from Power Rangers Dino Charge and Zyuden Sentai Kyoryuja. My next animation review will be, let's see now, Ben 10 Ultimate Alien. Yes, that's one that I can cover, but I haven't so far. So, till then, till all are one.